Benito Mussolini, the dictator of Italy, had a grand vision. He was not just a political leader. He saw himself as a modern-day Caesar, destined to restore Italy to its former glory. He wanted to create a new Roman Empire, one that would rival the ancient empire in its power and influence. This vision was not just a dream, it was a driving force behind his policies and actions. Mussolini believed in Italian dominance. He thought that Italy was destined to be a great power, and he was determined to make that a reality. His speeches were filled with rhetoric about Italian superiority and the need to reclaim Italy's rightful place in the world. He thought the Mediterranean Sea should be an Italian lake. To him, controlling the Mediterranean was essential for Italy's security and prosperity. He envisioned Italian ships patrolling the waters, ensuring that Italy had dominance over this crucial region. He yearned for the glory of ancient Rome. Mussolini was fascinated by the Roman Empire and its achievements. He often spoke about the greatness of Rome and how modern Italy could emulate its success. This ambition drove his every action. Mussolini's policies were all aimed at reviving the glory of Rome. Whether it was building up the military, expanding Italy's territory, or promoting Italian culture, everything he did was in service of this grand vision. Mussolini's Italy was hungry for land and power. He believed that Italy needed more territory to be truly great. This led to a series of aggressive military campaigns aimed at expanding Italy's borders. He wanted to expand his influence across Europe and Africa. Mussolini saw Africa as a land of opportunity, a place where Italy could establish colonies and extract resources. He also had ambitions in Europe, seeking to extend Italy's influence over its neighbors. He built up the Italian military. He promoted aggressive nationalism. Mussolini believed that a strong military was essential for achieving his goals. He invested heavily in the armed forces and used them to project Italian power. He used propaganda to make Italians feel superior. Mussolini's regime was adept at using propaganda to shape public opinion. Through films, posters, and speeches, he promoted the idea that Italians were a superior people destined for greatness.
Mussolini's dream was dangerous. His vision of a new Roman Empire was not just about glory, it was about domination and control. This made him a threat to peace and stability in Europe. His ambitions would lead to war and destruction. Mussolini's aggressive policies and military campaigns brought Italy into conflict with other nations. The pursuit of his vision resulted in immense suffering and devastation. The world would soon learn the price of his desire for a new Roman Empire. Mussolini's quest for power ultimately led to his downfall and had lasting consequences for Italy and the world. In 1935, Mussolini set his sights on Ethiopia, a nation that had long resisted colonial rule. Ethiopia was one of the few independent countries in Africa, a symbol of resistance and pride for the continent. It was a tempting target for Italy's imperial ambitions, driven by Mussolini's desire to expand his empire and restore the glory of ancient Rome. Mussolini used a minor border incident as a pretext for invasion, manipulating the situation to justify his aggressive actions. He sent Italian troops to conquer the African nation, believing that a swift victory would bolster his regime. The invasion of Ethiopia was brutal, marked by widespread atrocities and a blatant disregard for human life. Italian forces used modern weapons against poorly equipped Ethiopians, creating a devastating imbalance on the battlefield. They used poison gas in violation of international law, a heinous act that shocked the international community. The Ethiopian people fought bravely, displaying remarkable courage and resilience, but they were outmatched by the superior firepower of the Italians.
Italy conquered Ethiopia after a year of fierce fighting, leaving the nation in ruins and its people in despair. Mussolini declared himself Emperor of Ethiopia, a title that was met with international condemnation and outrage. It was a short-lived victory. The world was watching, and the invasion had far-reaching consequences, setting the stage for future conflicts and resistance movements across Africa.
The invasion of Ethiopia shocked the world. Many nations condemned Italy's actions. The League of Nations, meant to prevent such aggression, proved ineffective. The League of Nations imposed sanctions on Italy. The sanctions were weak and ineffective. They did little to deter Mussolini. Italy continued to occupy Ethiopia.
The invasion of Ethiopia had lasting consequences. It isolated Italy internationally, it pushed Mussolini closer to Nazi Germany, and it set the stage for greater conflict to come.
Mussolini found a kindred spirit in Adolf Hitler. Both dictators shared a disdain for democracy and international law. They both sought to expand their power through military might. Italy and Germany grew closer in the 1930s. They provided support to each other during the Spanish Civil War. They formed the Axis powers, a military alliance based on shared ambitions.
The alliance between Italy and Germany was a dangerous development. It destabilized Europe. It emboldened both dictators, and it paved the way for World War II.
Section 5. The Steel Pact, a promise of power and the shadow of war. In 1939, Italy and Germany signed the Pact of Steel.
This pact was a military alliance. It obligated each country to support the other in case of war.
The Pact of Steel was a sign of things to come. It signaled that Italy and Germany were prepared to use force to achieve their goals. It terrified the rest of Europe. The Pact of Steel had far-reaching consequences. It led directly to World War II. It plunged the world into the deadliest conflict in human history.
Mussolini's dream of a new Roman Empire ended in disaster. Italy's involvement in World War II was a catastrophe. The country was devastated by fighting. Millions of Italians died.
Mussolini was overthrown and executed in 1943. His empire crumbled. Italy was left in ruins. Mussolini's legacy is a cautionary tale. It shows the dangers of unchecked ambition. It highlights the importance of international cooperation.
The ghost of Mussolini's new Roman Empire still haunts Italy today. The country struggles with the legacy of fascism. The debate over Mussolini's legacy continues. Some Italians view Mussolini as a strong leader. They admire his infrastructure projects. They downplay his crimes. Others see him as a brutal dictator.
Italy must confront its past. It must learn from the mistakes of Mussolini. Only then can it move forward. Mussolini's story holds important lessons for the world. It shows that nationalism can be a dangerous force. It warns against the dangers of unchecked ambition. It highlights the importance of international cooperation. We must remember the mistakes of the past. We must be vigilant against the rise of authoritarianism. We must work together to prevent future tragedies. The world must never forget the lessons of Mussolini's new Roman Empire. We must learn from history to create a better future. Mussolini's quest for a new Roman Empire was not just a fleeting ambition, but a calculated move to restore Italy to its former glory. His vision was grand, aiming to revive the ancient Roman Empire's splendor and power. This quest had a profound impact on the world, altering the course of history in ways that are still felt today. Mussolini's aggressive expansionist policies and militaristic approach disrupted the global balance of power. It contributed significantly to the outbreak of World War II, as his alliances and invasions set the stage for a global conflict. The world was plunged into chaos, with nations scrambling to respond to the growing threat. This conflict led to the deaths of millions of people, both soldiers and civilians, leaving a trail of devastation and sorrow. The human cost of Mussolini's ambitions was staggering, with countless lives lost and families torn apart. It reshaped the geopolitical landscape, redrawing borders and altering the fate of nations. The aftermath of his actions saw significant territorial changes and the emergence of new political dynamics. The world learned a hard lesson about the dangers of fascism, witnessing firsthand the destructive potential of totalitarian ideologies. Mussolini's rise to power was marked by propaganda and the suppression of dissent. It saw firsthand the horrors of totalitarian regimes, with Mussolini's alliance with Nazi Germany amplifying the atrocities committed. The era was marked by widespread persecution and the establishment of concentration camps. In the aftermath, the world vowed to prevent such atrocities from happening again, leading to the establishment of international bodies and agreements aimed at preserving peace. The Nuremberg trial sought justice for the war crimes committed. Mussolini's new Roman Empire, though ultimately a failure, left an indelible mark on history. His architectural projects and grandiose plans are still visible in Italy today, serving as a reminder of his regime. It serves as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance in protecting democratic values. The monuments dedicated to the victims of his regime stand as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It underscores the importance of democracy, human rights, and international cooperation. The formation of the United Nations was a direct response to the horrors of the war, aiming to foster global collaboration and prevent future conflicts. The world must never forget the lessons learned from the ashes of Mussolini's ambitions. Educational efforts and historical archives play a crucial role in ensuring that future generations understand the consequences of unchecked power and the value of peace.